If it is or if it ain't, it's going to come out. Good morning, everybody. It's your girl, Miracle Sims, and you're listening to God, Sex, and Love. Your daily dose of inspiration, the juice. It is July the 30th, 2022, and today the topic is obedience. Happy Saturday, everybody. Happy Saturday. I hope that you all had a great day yesterday. Mine was just fine. Thank you to those of you all that participated and watched last night's episode of God, Sex, and Love, the talk show. Shout out to Miss Bree Tartaglione. Hey, I finally said her last name. I just did not want to mess it up throughout the week. But anyway, yes, Miss Tartaglione, also known as Bree Undeniably. I hope that you all enjoyed listening to her and her testimony and whatnot. If you guys missed it, don't worry. It is our featured video on godsexandlove.com. It should be for the next week. So yeah, I think. Hold on. Because I think, well, the reason I'm pausing because I know that Boomer, shout out to Boomer Smith, our editor, he uploaded 2 videos because he's on vacation. He's on vacation this week and whatnot. So he uploaded 2 videos in advance. But I'm pretty sure because the other one isn't going to air until next Friday. So I would say that it's probably safe to say that Miss Bree Undeniably is our feature video for this week. So go and check that out if you can and will. And hope that it blesses you, y'all. So man, I kind of feel like this week this week kind of flew by, as always, right? You know, so here we are at Saturday, and I don't want to take up too much of you all this time. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into it because I don't have too much to report from yesterday. I mean, yeah, I didn't do that much. So here we go. Let's get into it, y'all. Obedience. I woke up this morning around 2:04, 2:08, something like that. And it was a good verse, so go read that if you want to, can and will. However, the word obedience was on my heart and mind this morning. Now, I don't know if it had anything to do that with the storm that was going on outside, because I heard the thunder rolling and the rain and all of that when I was waking up this morning. I don't know. I mean, is it just me, or like when you're in the midst of a storm, or like a literal storm, like it's raining, or when it's thunder and lightning and all of that? Do y'all feel God's presence more in the thunder and rain? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I don't know if that's just me, but sometimes you feel that like, ooh, this made me feel like I need to get my life together here in the thunderclap. I don't know. Y'all can let me know if I'm the only one that think like that. But anyway, I mean, well, because I guess we often hear, or maybe even often feel like God is angry at us or mad at us or something like that. So maybe that side resonates with us more than His love and grace and mercy. So, depending on where you are spiritually. But I don't know. I'm just saying random thoughts that came into my heart and mind this morning as I woke up, and this word obedience was just kind of floating in my heart and mind. And I was like, all right, well, I'll look those verses up, and whatnot today. And I did listen to my prayer meditation and everything, but it was pretty much led back to this word obedience. Now, I mean, as for me, I would like to think that I, am obedient, but I mean, to be honest, I know that there's probably room for improvement, especially when it comes to the Lord in particular, because, not to say I'm still trying to figure out if I'm, well, I guess that's the best way to say it at this time, is that maybe, I'm still trying to discern the voice of God versus my own voice and stuff like that. And I don't think it's as bad as back when you look the cultivation period. I think I've gotten a little bit better since then to distinguish God's voice versus my own or the enemy, right? But um yeah, but sometimes you wonder like, is that just me? Is that just a random thought that I'm thinking, or whatever the case is? And so, um, I'm sure we all have room for improvement when it comes to this whole obedience conversation. So let's go ahead and get into it and chit chat and see what the Lord has to say through His Word and whatnot regarding that. So John 14:15, it says, "If you love me, you will keep my commandments." Short and sweet. That one, I mean, pretty straight to the point as well. If you love me, you will keep my commandments. Um, to be honest, man, a lot of these verses that I'm gonna get ready to share this morning, it might be pulp. You might not like it. Who knows? I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it can be that simple, right? If you love me, you will keep my commandments. I really don't even have anything else to say about that. I mean, I guess let's just reflect on that today. Um, to be honest, another thing I was reminded of this morning is our son. Again, I'm a parent out here now, and everything. First time, we got a little 3-year old, and yeah, we've been. I think I shared with y'all yesterday about him and his picky eater ways at the moment, and then now it's like, but see, again, I saw this in him back when he was just a little baby, when he first started to move, and I kept like trying to stop him from hurting himself by climbing to the edge of the bed, and he just kept trying to go over there. That he's that same way. It's just he's just older and walking around and talking now. That's the only the only thing that's different. And so there's things that we tell him not to do and that we're trying to instill in him, like right from wrong and what we expect and what we desire that he do and everything like that. And he'll come and he'll apologize, and it's like he understands that he did something wrong, X, Y, and Z. But then he'll go back and do the same thing over and over again and again. Like, who knows? Maybe this thing is happening just for me to be able to talk about it and share with you all that this is what we look like to God. Like, maybe that's why it's happening, or maybe that's just him continuing to be stubborn and determined. The perfect mix of stubborn and determined. Who knows? But I'm talking about it yet again because again, it is a good example of what we may be like to God, as well as like what it looks like to continuously do the opposite of what you're either told, taught, what God is asking us to do the complete opposite over and over and over again. I guess you would have to ask yourself the question: Do you love God? Like, do I love God if I'm going to continue to do things the opposite over and over and over again? Now, I mean, there's grace and all that, and we thank God for the grace and mercy and everything. But yeah, at some point, right, either you're going to be, like they say, hot or cold. You're going to have to pick one, like, and then, I mean, obviously, I guess, judging by whatever your fruit is and whatnot, or, you can tell what you're picking, even if you, like, say within yourself that, oh, I haven't chosen, or, oh, I'm not, people say the phrase, I'm a good person and all these different things, but when you break it down according to, you know, what, I guess what God deems to be good or whatnot, then you see that you're not a good person. I know I've seen some videos on YouTube. I can't remember the name of the gentleman, but he has like an accent, either Australian or British accent, one of those, and he goes around and talks to people, and he asks them that question. They, on one hand, they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm a good person," but then he's like, "Well, do you do this? Do you do that? Have you done this? Have you done that?" Well, technically, if you said you've done all these things, so that means that you're technically not a good person, and and whatnot. Basically, just trying to lead them back to Christ about um, and whatnot. But anyway, that's a whole nother thing. We ain't got to get too deep into that. But basically, yeah, man. If you love me, you will keep my commandments. 1 Peter 1:14, it says, as obedient children, Do not be conformed to the passions of your former ignorance. Again, at one time, when you didn't know, then, obviously there's grace and mercy for that. You didn't know. But at some point, like they say, when you know better, you do better, right? So, or at least you should, Now again, who knows, y'all? Maybe every time I'm talking to myself, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to point no fingers or no elbows or nothing to try to just whoever's listening to the sound of my voice, and if you feel like I'm pricking your heart right now, I mean, again, I'm not wise enough to do that personally. Me in my own me as miracle, you know what I mean. Now the Lord speaking through me or whatever the case is, if it's pricking your heart and mind, then let it do so, and be encouraged and inspired by it, because at the end of the day, I have to look at myself as well. Okay, if I know better, I got to do better, and yeah, I mean there's just expectations on people that know better, right? Even outside of the Bible, if we know that we taught somebody something, right? Or if you know that you've learned something or what right from wrong, X, Y, and Z, there's not saying there's no grace or whatever, but there, expect consequences to your actions, especially if you know better. Um, so yeah, I mean, how much more so is that true with the Bible? How much more so is that true with God and His Word and His rules and His way and all that different type of stuff? There's going to be consequences to those actions, and once you know that, then you should be walking in that and operating in that and living accordingly, right? But let's keep going. I told y'all this ain't nothing but Pope today. Woo. Look, stuff we don't like, right? We don't like this type of stuff. All right, Acts 5:29, and it says, "But Peter and the apostle answered, 'We must obey God rather than men.'" Yeah, at some point we got to stand. We got to take a stand. Are we going to obey God or are we going to obey man? I know plenty of the biblical figures had to do that. And they faced that life and death choice, which I don't know if people nowadays, I mean, some may have, dealt with the life or death choice. But I don't think we, maybe as Americans or, I can't say that I've like literally had it in front of my face at the moment. Who knows what the Lord, how things are going to go when it comes to the rest of my life, whatever the case is. But as of now, almost 36 years of living, I haven't had that, gun to my head or, the sword to my neck or any of the horrific things that could possibly happen that I'll have to choose, life or death. Am I going to follow God or not? But I mean, it could be something like that when it comes to just life in general, right? Because again, you just never know what can happen. That's the one thing. You never know what can happen. Two, um, I never know when it's my time, and when this might be the last time that I have to make this choice, and I may not know that, and everything like that. There's just so many different factors when it comes to this. So, whether it's right in your face or whether it's like an underlying thing that's in, like they say, maybe in the background of your choices, right? Maybe the choice is always life and death, right? It's always life and death. It's always good and evil. Those are the choices all the time with what the way you live. And so, um, yeah, yeah. Are you going to obey God or are you going to obey man? Like, yeah, we know that laws are being changed and all these different things, but I mean, are we going to obey God or are we going to obey man? Um, that is the question. Y'all can let that marinate on your own hearts and minds. What you gonna do? Look. I pray that as for me and my house, we gonna serve the Lord. Luke 6:46. Why do you call me Lord, Lord, and do not do what I tell you? I mean, hey, it's just like I know. Again, listening to my husband yesterday, talk to our son about coming to apologize. Like he come to apologize after he did whatever he did and whatnot, and he just basically was like, son, you do this all the time. You apologizing all the time, but you go back and do it again and again and again. At some point, it's like your apology isn't, we can't value your apology if you're going to go back and do it again and again. So same with us, same with us in this aspect here, how can we call Jesus our Lord, for example, if we're not going to do what Jesus did, and do what he tells us to do and everything like that. I mean, hey, there's nothing else for me to say there. I mean, it's pretty cut and dry to me, but again, more Pope, right? One more verse to share that I felt led this morning, and it's Luke 11:28. It says, "But he said, blessed rather are those who hear the word of God and keep it." I mean, yeah, it's one thing to hear it, but it's a whole nother thing to do it, live it, and everything like that. I mean, hey, y'all, that's the juice. It might be the pulpy juice this morning, but that is the juice. The Bible verse of today is 2 Corinthians 4:16. It says, "For which cause we faint not, but though our outward man perish, yet the inward man is renewed day by day." Friends, I hope you all enjoyed this juice this morning. Thank you so much for listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration and juice. I pray you guys can go forth and have a wonderful day, and I look forward to talking to you all on Monday, if the Lord's will. Yes, have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and I'll see y'all on Monday, if the Lord's will. Bye-bye. Check out our friends at mailandmeat.com for beautifully handcrafted, Afrocentric greeting cards and so much more. That's mailandmeat.com.